Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. We're here to debate the value of Amazon advertising. Amazon advertising is a high-profile topic, and we want to open that up with some experts who have joined me here today. My name is Paul Walsh. I am founder of an agency, a service-based agency called allthingsamazon.co.uk. And I can dive into that a bit more as we discuss, but I'll let each of our guests here introduce themselves to you, and then we'll kick the whole thing off.
Hello, I am Amy. I have been in e-com for the last 10 years. I formerly was the head of e-commerce at Fulfill Nutrition, so not long left there. Really looking forward to speaking to you all today about all things Amazon advertising.
Thank you. Hi guys, I'm Aftab Salim. I'm the Managing Director at the Growth Foundation. We're an e-commerce growth consultancy based here in London, working with startups, scale-ups and multinationals, from pet care to vitamin supplements to fashion. Prior to that, I spent a number of years at British American Tobacco, driving their vaping business online, and prior to that, Mothercare and the Hut Group. So a varied amount of experience across a number of different industries.
Hi guys, my name's Ronan. I work with a rug company called Cocoon Rugs. We're one of the largest independent rug retailers in the UK. So I've been a DAL analyst on their e-commerce team for about 3 years, looking at the effects of advertising on eBay, Amazon, Wayfair, and really trying to figure out this game. So yeah, it should be a good talk today.
So, Amazon, is it a friend or foe when it comes to advertising? Who wants to open up this piece with initial thoughts? Friend or foe?
I'll go, yeah. Yeah, so I would say it's a friend, but it's in the right setting. So, you're going to get more uses out of Amazon advertising than you're not. People like to think that it's some sort of pipe train that can come along and give you a quick fix to all your listings and all your solutions. It's not. It's something that can be used hand in hand with prominent SEO, really, really good imagery on your listings, and really, really good reviews on your listings. Amazon advertising is not going to come along and be the fix for everything, but it's definitely an outlet that you can have to improve your listings. But yeah, it's better having a friend and having some uses for that than just outright regarding it as an enemy. You're not going to get anywhere with it.
I mean, I'll take the next one as well. I think I'm in the friends camp. Is my short answer. It's a friend, but I guess keep it at a nice distance, because from my side it's quite a simple cycle, right? Where you spend ad money, you'll get ad revenue, you'll get more reviews, you'll get better organic listings, and that circle continues. But in all honesty, your listings have to be optimized, your foundations need to be correct to then enable that scalability. With advertising, you will get brand awareness, you will beat competition, you will get that scale and fame, but it's not to be relied on solely, because your organic listings need to be spot on, right? And that's the balance that I feel is using it as a friend, but ensuring your foundations are bang on, and ensuring your listings are optimized to the best they can be before you pump money into advertising.
Thank you. Yeah, similar answer in that friend for sure can definitely help elevate your e-commerce strategy, not just on Amazon, but across all different channels within e-com. I think for me what it's all really about is having that really, really targeted strategy. So it is obviously about getting your visibility, ensuring you have that SEO top notch so you can improve your organic. But for me, it's also about the data that you can then collect about your consumer online behavior, knowing exactly who you're targeting, when you're targeting them, how, and then learning within your business strategy how it fits within your P&L. I think if you don't have that optimized campaign structure, you are at risk of overspending or competing against yourself for certain keywords, and then also going against your brand, your competitors. So really, I think it needs to be part of your overall holistic business strategy. It does not sit in a silo of e-commerce for it to work as a friend.
So we're sounding like we're on the Amazon advertising as a friend camp, and to turn this a slightly different way, we as an agency are somewhat against Amazon advertising. Our total advertising spend for our client base in terms of percentage of top line revenue is about 0.8%. So we go the other way, and that's where the question came from. But we'll move on. We'll come back to the numbers a bit later on. The next thing I wanted to dive into is the question of why is so much of the Amazon generated learning content, so much of the selling on Amazon discussions so centered around ads, even though ads is one of 5, maybe 10 contributing factors? So what is the over obsession with ads about in the LinkedIn communities, on the forums? What's going on there? I'll start with Amy.
Yeah, one that I'm really passionate about talking about. So I work primarily with a 1P vendor model. And for me, it's probably the biggest outgoing on my P&L. So it's the thing that gets the most attention. It's the thing that we need to ensure there's an ROI on, and there's so many KPIs that sit around the strategy for advertising. I think when we look at the forums and LinkedIn and things like that, I think that goes outside of Amazon and more the e-commerce community that is created. And I think everybody has a real propensity to share learnings, wins, losses, what's going on, and there's no one-size-fits-all strategy with advertising. I think we've all experienced that, anyone who's ever done it, especially with Amazon. And when you feel like you've discovered something, or your strategy pulls off something that you weren't sure it would, it's encouraging for others to share. So for me, it's, yes, there's Amazon advertising for the point of a P&L and commercially, but equally within the community of e-commerce, it's so central for learning.
I think from my side, it'd probably be because it's inverted commas sexy, and you can probably see an immediate return more than anything else, right? So you optimize, you chuck money at it, you'll get an immediate return. It might not be sustainable, it might not be the right thing to do, but you'll get a return, right? And it's measurable. So I guess talking about something that's immediate, I guess, like I said, inverted commas, sexier than organic optimization is probably talked about the most, right?
I think there's almost like a similar mistake to Amazon advertising as there is to algorithms and all that sort of information with Amazon, and trying to sort of game the system and really get a one-up. So I think people are always sort of fascinated with that conversation as to how you can sort of beat a system or how you can rise to the top, and that's always going to promote intrigue and discussion around it. I know myself, what I really found with Amazon advertising is trying to find that sort of type of product in terms of its success and what sort of fits best with Amazon advertising. So if you're looking at maybe your best seller on Amazon, is it really worth pumping money into advertising? Are you looking at your medium sellers that kind of fluctuate up and down? Is that worth putting Amazon advertising in? Or is it your product that has no reviews, no real sales history? Is that worth the Amazon advertising crunch? And I think for me, that was definitely something that I've read a lot about in trying to figure out what actually suits Amazon advertising best, what product fits that best. And I still don't really have an answer. Other than that, I wouldn't go into putting up an Amazon advertising campaign with something that has no sales history behind it or no reviews, because you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money. That's my opinion on it, but still trying to work out, is it there to sustain your best sellers, or is it to prop up sellers to become your best sellers? That's the big one for me.
So a mixed approach there, but much the same message coming through about the complexity and about truly understanding Amazon advertising. So I'll change this and look at this a different way. Amazon advertising, unlike other areas, is sometimes allowed to be spent on and invested in by companies without pure proof of the return on that investment. Why is it allowed to exist like that? Why is there a mystery there that's justified even on the P&L with no direct report of revenue, which is assuredly coming from that ad spend? Why is it left so open? Why are people so carefree about spending on Amazon advertising?
I'll happily take this one. So similar to my previous answer, working with the 1P vendor model, I think, so your question, was why is it so important, or why is it just left to be carefree? Yeah, so I think those KPIs that you can see within the Vendor Central or Seller Central, whatever it is that you can see as a direct result of your Amazon spend, is not the end of the story. We all know that, right? So for me, when you're discussing budgets and where it should sit and which code does it sit under, to me it's really important to understand and evaluate, well, what's the brand equity that we've built around that? Amazon as a marketing tool, and how do we build brand equity outside of what we're just seeing as direct sales? And also, I think a lot of people want to see results in a, like you said, it's a sexy mode, so people want to see that instant justification for their spend. But I think really we need to be looking at it over a minimum 21-day period and further. So how is it going to build? Initially, there's going to be a big spend up front. In 2-3 years' time, when you've got a really stable organic rank, and you can then start to pull back from advertising, that's when you evaluate your overall investment. It's not always a quick win. yes, there are quick wins to be had if you've got the budget behind it, but really it should be part of your long-term strategy, in my opinion, as well.
And I guess also don't forget how tightly linked your paid performance is with your organic ranking, right? All works in a bit of a flywheel, right? Your paid, your reviews, your organic listings, you drop one thing, that'll impact the others, right? So it's having that balance out of how are they all interlinked within the algorithm to kind of benefit with each other.
Yeah, I think sellers can fall into the trap of maybe seeing an advertising campaign that succeeds, and Amazon does have that outlet where you can run a campaign and it just takes off completely on an advertising level, with no real explanation other than maybe your listing's just really that great. And I think people can fall into that trap and think, right, this is the blueprint for every other listing I'm going to have. I'm going to spend a lot of my budget on it. I'm going to sustain this budget basically off one or two advertising campaigns that have worked, and I'd recommend not doing that. I know myself that from campaigns where we've run maybe about 100 smaller advertising budgets across 100 listings, you'll only get about 20 or 30 of them that might actually succeed and get a real profit off. So there's no point thinking, right, just because one advertising campaign's worked, the rest are going to work. Amazon advertising is very tricky like that, and it's actually a very small amount in a large number that'll really work.
So what we jumped into there was really why it's allowed to sit, and I don't think anyone gave a clear answer as to here's the justifiables. But for me, and where we can probably add value in terms of the information we're sharing here, is how important is it that the Amazon advertising and the Amazon SEO strategies sit next to each other, and how do those two strategies interweave, interlink, and have a shared vision? Because that's one of those topics that's just not talked about enough. So Amazon advertising and Amazon SEO, how are they linked and how are they work together? Who wants to open that after?
I mean, that's probably the part that I mentioned at the start. Is I think it's fundamental, right? They're so interlinked with each other, and without that, it doesn't. There's no sustainable and scalable growth without both of them working hand in hand. I think Rona mentioned it earlier. It's pointless investing paid advertising if your listings aren't optimized, you haven't done your keyword research, if your pricing isn't sufficient, you haven't got A+ content, your images aren't right. All of that matters. Your product descriptions aren't nailed. How is your off Amazon strategy as well, right? I think a lot of people ignore that part. It's kind of on-site SEO, but people forget about off Amazon SEO. What is the referral strategy around that? And that, working hand in hand with paid, is how you get sustainable and scalable growth from my side.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of SEO outlets, and I'm sure a lot of people know about from in this talk here. I know one that I've used quite considerably is Merchant Words, which has helped me considerably. I know there's other ones that people may use. I know there's a particular sort of outlet in Amazon advertising where you can target specific words. You can have a budget directed towards that in a day. You could put that budget to be £50 a day, and it could be gone by about 2 o'clock. And SEO is going to do you for 24 hours around the day, so you can budget and target them specific words, all right. That might help you for a couple of hours, may give you a boost or an uplift, but having that SEO strategy and having them words there around the clock, it's going to save you money. It's not going to have you spending lots and lots of budget every single day, and it's the far smarter decision.
Thank you. So I'm going to offer a slightly different perspective. I completely agree in terms of SEO, obviously helping that CPC reduce, you're building your relevancy, you're building your organic structure within your products, your whole catalogue. But for me, it goes back to knowing your business, understanding the role that Amazon plays in your overall strategy again. And, for example, if you're working with a huge brand that's completely well-known household name and you're doing a lot of activation offline, that obviously translates. The consumer isn't a standalone, it's not only offline or only online. There is a crossover. So I think Amazon advertising plays a role outside of SEO where there's learnings to be made as well. If you're entering Amazon or e-commerce in general for the first time, of course SEO is going to be important to get that strategy really slick and your costs reduced. But there's definitely a role to play where you can go live with an auto campaign or with a brand only campaign, put some money behind it, and then take the learnings from that. If you're not sure on SEO and all you know is, well, our brand name is really strong, but we're not sure how people are looking for our product. And then secondary to that, we don't know how people are actually purchasing the product. So I think paid advertising can play a role from the beginning. If SEO isn't your strongest point within your business, it can be built afterwards.
So to give some sort of context and put some numbers behind this, for anyone who doesn't know, every ASIN on Amazon has a unique set of keywords that it ranks for. These keywords can be seen, can be downloaded, can be used. A product that we work with as part of our portfolio, it sells about £250,000 per year on one ASIN. And that ASIN, with £250,000 a year of sales, that ASIN ranks for 4,200 keywords. So what we have found over the years are that your ranking keywords, which is SEO-led, is directly relatable to your revenue, and you can't have the revenue without the ranking keywords. So that's an SEO ranking keywords. Now, for us, what we usually do is try and build in the advertising strategy to sit alongside the SEO strategy. So if we have 4,200 keywords and we drop one of the main ones, we lose the ranking on that. We would then begin the ad spend to re-rank for that keyword. Now, that's a bit of a chicken and egg situation where the entire thing just goes in circles. But the tip that I would give today, because we're here and I may as well, is that if you focus on those ranking keywords, that is your equity to revenue. Without that and without reviews, you will not get the revenue regardless of what you do. So it's when you look at it like that, that for me, Amazon advertising sits in a less important category because of the importance of those other ones. And the fact is that Amazon advertising is so popular that if we took that off the title of this debate, I would say 50% of the audience wouldn't be here, because it is such a topic of interest. It's such a topic of intrigue. In my opinion, there's a lot of overspend on it. These guys might say a little bit different, but those two things have to sit beside each other, Amazon advertising, Amazon SEO. To move this on a bit then, and to get back into the debate structure where we're not agreeing on things, which is what we want, Amazon advertising, is it better for clicks, for views, and for conversion than Google or Meta counterparts in terms of your ROI, your return on your investment? Are you getting back the pounds at the same ratio that you would be on those two or other alternate platforms? Ronan?
In my experience, yes. It does have a better system behind it. As in, a lot of people will say to you right now that the Amazon advertising market is saturated, and it is. But at the same time, people are immediately coming in there, and Amazon's such a trusted resource, and it's such a trusted resource for that sort of user experience that I prefer advertising on Amazon, and I simply prefer shopping on Amazon than other outlets. So that's my basis for it. I wouldn't be an expert on Google or any of that, but I can hand it to somebody else who can give you more of an answer on that.
So we work with many retailers and clients that are across multiple channels. So they're on D2C, they're on Amazon as a complementary or supplementary channel. And what we find for most, if not all, is the ROI and the efficiency on Amazon and paid is better than what they see on Meta and Google. And that's from our portfolio, whether it's vitamin and supplements, pet care, apparel, across all those kind of different industries and clients that we've got, the efficiencies and the return on Amazon advertising is far better than what they see on Meta and Google.
So for me, it again really depends on what metric you're judging that by. So Meta and Facebook, Meta and Google, obviously you have much more rich data in terms of what you have access to and your learnings. But then when we talk about is it better for clicks and visibility, anyone who's used Google advertising before will know you can set up your goals to whatever is fitting for your business. So if you are, whatever industry you're in, if you're trying to educate the consumer, for example, there's so many reasons somebody would visit Google or be on Facebook. It's a lot more disruptive, whereas Amazon, consumers are so much further down the funnel where their intent to purchase is so much higher. So outside of the metrics in terms of is it better ROI, is it better conversion as a percentage, I think it's more about how are you building your audience and what level are you targeting an audience. If you've got massive budget to spend on people who are in a discovery phase, great. Google, Meta, the data that you can access, the audiences that you can build, great. But I think when we're talking about conversion and generating revenue, Amazon's always going to win.
I think Amazon has the unfair advantage, correct me if you feel different, that Amazon is product only, whereas Google and Meta are both product, questions, and life answers. So Amazon have a unique sphere there. The flip of that is I would say Amazon advertising is much more competitive in terms of the bids, the price pushing, the budgets that go behind it for the reasons we sort of detailed earlier on. So to talk numbers, because that's probably the best value to everybody here, as a percentage of your top line revenue, so top line revenue being all of the pounds that you yield on Amazon, what should your percentage spend on ads be? And we can't have any neutral, wish-washy answers here. We need actual numbers. You all know it. You all have a P&L and somebody to report to. So we need specific numbers. We'll start with Amy.
So I'll try and not give a wishy-washy answer, but I don't think there is a one-size-fits-all. This is the magic number that's going to make your Amazon advertising strategy work. I feel like all of my answers have started this way, but it's so true. It depends on your business strategy and what the role of Amazon is. If you're purely e-commerce, it's going to play a huge role. And for me personally, when I've been in that situation, my budget's probably looking at around 30% of net revenue going back into Amazon to generate the traffic, the conversion, building the organic rank. However, that being said, if you're a omni-channel business and you're operating, within the UK or global, and you have a real strong brand name, you're already going to be very relevant in the fields where people are looking for your product. So in that situation, I would say anything 10% and below would do the job. I think it really depends on how efficient your campaigns are and having that real slick structure, because at the end of the day, however you can drive your cost per click on really targeted keywords that are going to generate revenue and a better ROI for your business, that's really going to dictate what percentage it is. And obviously ASP comes into that. What is your selling price? How competitive is the market that you're operating in? So sorry, Paul, it is a bit wishy-washy, but I would say that's roughly a guide.
I mean, this might divide some opinions, and I guess this is why we're sat here today. I mean, be a new one, be an established seller on Amazon. From my perspective and my recommendations is usually that 10 to 15% cost of sale. I know some might say that's a bit high, but I think it's coming back to what Amy said. It's achieving that top of funnel awareness as well as bottom funnel of conversion, and splitting out your budget in that way. But for me, it is kind of being sure that you're spending a reasonable amount of your budget into advertising, and not having something that I think Paul had with some of his clients being at 0.6% of total budget. I think for me, that's where we'll probably disagree, where I think my range is more 10 to 15%.
Yeah, I'd be coming at it from a lower angle. I'd be coming at it looking at around 2.5 to 5%. I'd mentioned earlier that you can run about 100 campaigns. You're probably going to get about 20 that you're going to have a positive return on. So if you're really putting in like 10 to 15% or even higher into that, you can be splaffing away a lot of money. If you're looking at 2.5 to 5%, really in them campaigns, if you're running about 30 or 40, if 5 of them take off and 5 of them really get a successful return on investment, that can cover that 2.5 to 5% for the next couple of years. It's in that list, it's just going to be a banker, a list that you can rely on. So really, while Amazon advertising is almost like a scattergun approach, it's very much sort of being a bit frugal about the amount of bullets you use. You're not going to be coming in, putting in a lot more spend, a lot more than 10 or 15%. I would go 2.5 to 5 personally, but any higher than 15 or 20, I think you're losing.
Yeah, I think any higher than 15, I think you are probably losing. But I guess the higher percentage is more for if you haven't got brand awareness, if you haven't got any other channels, you've got a D2C operation, but you want to get more eyeballs. How do you get more eyeballs from a really good new audience that's kind of have higher propensity to convert as well? So I guess it's getting that balance right of brand awareness towards a direct response paid media approach.
Sorry, I feel like I'm just going to add on just at the back of that as well. Just off what you were saying around if you are going over, I think something that individually you need to work out as your strategy and with your business is understanding how much traffic are you driving from off Amazon to your brand, and what's the opportunity cost to your business of a competitor taking that space. So we know being on page 1 versus page 2 can increase revenue by 70%. We know that being in the top 10 position can increase a further 35%. If 4 of those positions are taken by competitors and you're driving them there, what's the cost to your business outside of that VC metric?
So a variety of numbers there. I knew in advance what each person's take on that was, so I just wanted to open that up. But we have a wide spread of numbers. The big one for me and the data that I want to leave you with is we have a revenue pool in our consultancy of about £28 million of Amazon revenue that we oversee or project manage in some way or another. And as we talked about beforehand, our ad spend as a percentage of that is between 0.6 and 0.8. I just checked it there, and we build ourselves on not using Amazon as a lever and in terms of advertising. And the single biggest reason why is every time we've ever run a test on this, what we have found is that almost every other lever except advertising, whenever you make your gains with it, your gains stay. Whereas on Amazon advertising, as soon as you turn that tap off from our data sets, the revenue dries up. So for us, that's not a long-term investment, that's a short-term investment that then doesn't deliver value in the long term, and that's where the ROI question comes in, is just how much is coming back. So that's my take, hence sort of challenging these guys on spend. Totally agree. If you're trying to find brand position, if you're entering Amazon now and you haven't been in the game for 10 years, then yeah, you need to build. And Amazon advertising is without a doubt a key way of doing that. However, for us, it just doesn't give the foundations that lead to long-term consistent revenue. And it's also very hard to justify with data sets, especially to finance directors who want things to be as tangible as they possibly can. So that's tough. To give sort of a final piece of value here before we ask a couple of questions, if I'm allowed to do that, I would like to ask each of you, what's the best structure of an ad you've ever seen? What's been the best way to go into it? What's the one thing that stands out as a really good Amazon ad that has delivered what you wanted on a scale that was above the average line?
I'll let someone else.
I wouldn't be an admirer of many ads, put it like that. I know from my own experience, what's really helped is sort of like having almost like a multi-layered approach in the form of advertising, not just choosing one type of Amazon advertising category. Going for product targeting, maybe going for a bit of brand targeting, and a keyword targeting as well. There's a sort of blend or amalgamation of advertising strategies that you can go for. Now, I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not going through Amazon and admiring every single ad I see. I'm not that sad, but there is a sort of multi-tiered approach you can do to making sure your advertisement really sticks out amongst the rest.
I mean, my view in here is quite straightforward. I mean, it's a bit of using the different, I guess, available tactics, being it brand, being it product, being it display, being it keyword, having a variation of them. And I guess bringing it together is kind of what I would advise of having that sort of approach. Haven't got anything much more further to say, to be honest.
Yeah, my answer might be a little bit controversial. I'm not sure, but I would say just as a take-home sort of piece of advice when building campaign structure, not necessarily on creative or how you run it, but when building campaign structures, if you're in a business where you don't have the resource or you're not working with an agency to manage these huge campaigns that have thousands of keywords in and the bids are all automated, my advice would be to keep it as simple as possible. So keep your match types by campaign. Don't be don't have an exact and a phrase spending budget in the same place. Don't be double targeting keywords, and just make sure that you're always adding into that negative and farming your keywords. Be consistent. It's ever evolving, so don't just set it and go. It's something that has to be constantly looked after, not just, upload and leave and hope for the best.
Thank you. Any questions from the group? Sir, is there another mic, or will I use this one? Yeah.
Hi guys, that was really interesting. I just wanted to ask, do you consider reviews as a form of advertising, and how much importance do you put towards that?
So while I'm on the move, for me, reviews is an SEO game, and if you're influencing reviews, as in if someone in this group asks me today, what should I write for a review? The more keyword heavy it is, the better. And for me, that's a big SEO lever. Nobody here should be influencing reviews. I'm not saying anyone does that. If any Amazon people are here, I did not say the last 30 seconds there. But if you were in that position, it's an SEO game for me, but it is a key lever.
So I agree with you on the SEO piece. For me, it's really simple, split into two different columns. So if you've got really great traffic going to your listing, there's only 4 things a consumer is seeing, and that's your image, your title, your price, and your reviews. So if your reviews are there and your traffic's good, great. If your traffic's not, it's one of the areas you should definitely look at out of those 4. If they get into the page, it's all the other elements that they then see. So they're kind of the 2 metrics that I look at is what's traffic, there's 4 things that we can change. If it's conversion, it's everything else.
I think for me, 100% agree that reviews is part of the organic strategy or the organic approach. But for me, this is where paid advertising plays a big part of paid advertising. Get more traffic, get more sales volume. More sales volume equals more reviews. So then how do you then lean on your paid advertising to get more volume through to then ultimately drive more reviews, right? Because I think that is a fundamental part of kind of driving your volume with regards to how many reviews you get.
Yeah, similar answer to both the guys. And what I would sort of emphasize is if you're looking to start out your advertising journey on Amazon, and you're looking at maybe a couple of products without any reviews, again, that's you going to be wasting your time. I know myself, I don't shop on something if I don't have customer reviews on it. They're the godsend for me. They're the thing I have with the highest importance. So basically, don't bother with an advertising campaign unless you have them original reviews ready to prop up your listing.
Just while the guys were talking there, I had another bit of information coming back to me from a few years ago. So to answer your question spot on, we had this kids product, so it was aimed at kids, and for some reason, not sure why, the customer base was always grandparents buying this product for the kids, for the grandkids, and somebody eventually left grandson in one of the reviews, and for about 6 months after that, all of the keyword ranking went to grandson or like origin terms. And for me, what that did for value add was far greater than any ad spend could have been on grandson as a term, because Amazon controls the eligibility of that. Whereas if you have a word in a review, Amazon is very, very happy that is legitimate information and therefore should be used in all aspects of connecting a searching shopper to a product that has that in the title. Any other questions from the group? Yeah.
Thanks for that. You've touched a lot on spend in general, but how are you making a decision on split between product, brand, display, advertising?
Thanks, sorry, I didn't hear that. Amy filled me in, though. For us, they're completely separate campaigns that have to self-fund. They have to be legitimate, they have to create revenue, and that has to come back. Now, there's definitely overlap there, but it's very, very hard whenever we're client-facing to push the spend on something that we can't prove a return in terms of revenue. And that might be different internally for the likes of Ronan and Amy, who are used to being on the inside of the brand, where there's trust, where people understand your role, and there's a lot of transparency. But whenever we're client-facing, we can't get away with spending on something without showing the pure return. So for us, completely isolated approach. The sponsored products is the oldest of the existences of those sets of ads. For context, there's 216 different structures of ads that you can use on Amazon that fall under these 3 umbrellas, and that's because all of the different switches and changes in the road that come with each approach. But for us, the sponsored products leads because it's the longest, it's the best understood. It probably has the most history too, but each of them for us has to be self-funding, self-ROI, and easily measurable.
Yeah, similar to Paul, for me, it's dictated by what your overall budget is and what the aim is. So sponsored product, as you say, it's the oldest, it's going to convert best, it's native, so the shopper, I guess now is more aware, but it's still always going to convert more than a brand or display ad. I think the role definitely for display and brand comes into your promotional calendar. So when do you really want to ramp it up? When's it important for you to take that share of voice? It's dictated by your strategy and what you have available in budget. I think in terms of ROI, the order for me is always going to be sponsored product, sponsored brand, sponsored display. But it really depends on the aim that you're trying to get, I suppose.
What Amy and Paul said.
Yeah, I know myself that we prefer product targeting. There's a lot of discussion about brand advertising on Amazon and on marketplaces. Is it even worth it? You know, I've read before that the minute you come on a marketplace, it's almost a rejection of branding. You're really looking for either the cheapest product or the one that can delivered the quickest. So I wouldn't really be focused that much on sponsored brand advertising. That wouldn't really be where my interests lie. On a product level, it's far more beneficial for me in my experience so far.
In respect of everybody getting to their next stage, we're going to close it there. But this is Ronan Kitson, Aftab Salim, Amy Lynch, and Paul Walsh. I'm speaking today again at 2 o'clock. Amy's speaking at 12. You can get us on LinkedIn or hang around after. We're open for questions. We'll stand to the side. But thank you for joining us today. Hopefully the topic has been interesting, and that starts off 2 days of the eCommerce Expo. But thank you very much.